Do episode 3 of Our Yard Podcast featuring Swaggy T and Hogmaster Jakey. Today we're going to be talking about Raw from last night, among other things, and the for sure set in stone SummerSlam lineup. We've been making predictions along the way as to what happened, and we're getting a clearer picture as to what it's going to be. But I think first things first, we are sponsored today by Mountain Dew Voltage.
Shout out to shout out to our 14-year-old selves.
That's right. Shout out to our 14-year-old self.
Shout out Trevor's mom for being the man at Walmart and bringing us cases at a time.
That's right. You got to fatten us up somehow. Make sure we don't run away. Oh,
Oh, so I guess we're gonna kick this off. This this is pretty much gonna be Monday Night Raw review. Kind of thinking our schedule. We're kind of thinking, Tuesdays, do a release
Raw review.
a Raw review, and then Saturdays release SmackDown. Unless maybe Saturdays might change. Well,
I think,
maybe.
on the pay-per-view weeks, we can review the SmackDown and the pay-per-view
Yeah, I think we
all
can
at
do that.
once, and
Because
just
really, the SmackDowns just are like the kind of almost like a pre-show when it's a pay-per-view
yeah,
weekend.
kind of a way to warm you up to it.
Yeah.
It's what Saturday Night Velocity used to be, for all the.
For the real OGs out here.
That's right. Shout out Paul London, Brian Kendrick. Never forget Jamie Noble, who is still seeing
Billy
almost
Kidman.
weekly screen time to this day.
Billy Kidman, shout out the GOAT. The
The real
GOAT
goat.
cruiserweight
The
champion.
go to the shooting star press.
Never forget Tajiri either.
That's right. I don't think he's a producer, but just don't forget him.
No, don't forget about him.
Don't forget about him. We will find you.
Well,
No, but the
guess
show
what?
started off with an absolute, as Jr. would say, slobber knocker with Gunther and Damian Priest going head to head. Gunther fully standing on what he said and is looking to be looking to be playing into that kind of race baiting. I don't really know how you would describe it, but Gunther's going for the throat. And since it's like two kind of traditional heels going against each other, I think they're trying to push Damian to be the face after, no matter what happens. But no, Damian was whooping that ass for him out of the ring.
He dude, he walked out and it was hell last night. I mean, it might have been louder boos for Gunther than it was for Dominique. I mean, it was crazy. That dude was getting booed out of that
He was
building.
getting the Dominic. He was getting the Dominic Mysterio treatment. Like they wouldn't even let him talk up until he started saying, "It's like I meant every word of it," and they were like, "Oh fuck you," and he's like, "Well, fuck it. What are you gonna do? Wrestle me?"
Yeah,
Um,
chest chop all 17,000.
but no, I mean that kind of. I mean, to be completely honest, I mean that's probably the right move as far as Gunther's character, but it's a rough move
Yeah.
because some people were trying to say, "Oh, this is where Gunther's going to turn face." I'm like, no, probably not.
No, Gunther's not turning face. He's a perfect heel. I mean, and okay,
It's
now
going to
I'll
be
say
years
this.
before he turns face, if he
Oh
ever does. He may never turn face.
yeah, he may not. He might. Well, I was gonna say he might be like Triple H, but Triple H kind of did have the few years with him and like the DX reunion where he was kind of a face. But
Yeah, like I mean, the closest thing I could think of is someone that was just perennially a heel the whole time. Maybe Tully Blanchard from the Four
I
Horsemen.
mean, hell, I mean, you could have said Miz up until like the last few years.
Yeah, but he's such a good face that it don't even.
Yeah, but he's a bet. I mean, I don't know. We need another Miz Hill run, but we're not gonna get
Oh,
off. We're not gonna get too off topic.
oh no. I mean, we're gonna get it. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but yeah, Gunther and Priest, man, it's leading up to be. I love it. I love it. Like this is probably gonna be my match of the night. It's probably gonna be my favorite.
Dude,
Like
that's the
going
thing about the
into
SummerSlam. On paper, this is one of the best like cards we've had in a while. I think. I don't think there's going to be a bad match. Um,
and that I'm saying that going in as a LA Knight dick rider, like the Glazer. Like I love LA Knight, and I
yeah,
think that's gonna be awesome. But like I just I don't know something about like Damian Priest and Gunther are just cooking right now. And of course, we know Gunther's going to put on. I don't know. I mean, Damian is very well capable. Like the dude is great in ring, but he does have like a few, and like some of his matches, he's had like a few, you know, like slip ups here and there. A few like minor botches, nothing just terrible. But I mean,
nothing like
you know,
nothing to the point where I think it ruined the match. But
no. But it was just I don't know. Like with Gunther, you have to be, 100% technician. Like, dude, I mean, you just gotta be in another world, like on another fucking level with that shit. Cause
and I think it's safe to say
I mean,
that
that's just,
Damian isn't on Gunther's level when it comes to that. I'd say Damian's probably a better mic worker than him. He's a more interesting personality, and I think that's what they usually seem to go for when it comes to like the heavyweight championships. Like you got to like believe it,
yeah,
and I would definitely believe Gunther. Don't get me wrong, but at this point in their careers,
yeah. I
I
mean,
think Gunther. Honestly, dude, the more time goes on, the more I think Gunther may actually like lose. And
he might.
was he had like 4 losses his entire WWE run, even going back to like NXT UK.
Yep.
So I mean, he's lost before, but it just seems
Not
really
often.
unlikely that he will. Not often at all.
Well,
But anyway, kind of an also kind of a side note, very awkward like transition into the commercial break because it was I've never seen a commercial break from Raw go in that way because it was like Damian ran up the ramp and like clotheslined him to knock them down, and it just went to commercial. It was like they were still actively fighting, and I think that was a bit awkward. So I don't really. I hope they
yeah,
kind of. You saw what I'm talking about. That was
yeah. It was a bit odd. I don't
it
really.
was a bit odd. And then it came back, and they were still fighting, but they've been doing that. Having fights go through commercial breaks and come out and like
Hell,
go
go
in the
through the
back or
whole
come
show.
out. And, yeah,
But
but
I guess after that, we had Braun
and
and Ilya IC contender match. And holy shit, those two dudes,
that
my
was
God,
probably
like,
match of the night. Honestly, I
I
would
mean,
I would say that was probably match of the night as far as the actual wrestling goes.
oh yeah, like
And
in ring chemistry
um,
and shit, like that was, yeah, like those dudes were cooking, in UK and NXT when they were in NXT together, they had some matches over the last few years that were phenomenal, and I knew they were capable, but man, they came out last night and I mean, they stole the show. Like they had a match of the night, and then like Ilya got a big pop when he came out because he's kind of been slowly getting popped, a little bit bigger. But last night he got he got a big pop. And then of
oh
course
yeah,
when Braun came out,
The Green Bay crowd was fully behind everybody that came out,
I mean, damn
except
near
for
it's been
maybe except for maybe Carrie and Cross. But we'll get into that match later because I remember you like we were on the phone at that point. You said, and the crowd goes mild.
yeah, like
It
that's just negative aura. But yeah, I mean,
is
dude,
what
they
it is.
went.
He's not a bad wrestler. He's just it's. I think it's that old fucker. I think it's that that little old Judas Priest looking some bitch. Like it's not work. It's not. It's why are you there, man? Like you could put a lot of people in there to fill that void.
Yeah. But but anyways, on the Braun and Ilya, like, and of course Braun got a big ass, he's so over right now. And I'll just
Mm-hmm.
and on our previous episode, we didn't know anything about an IC match at SummerSlam, which I guess they are pretty much doing all the titles, well, singles titles, anyways. And
Mm-hmm.
dude, I mean, Braun and Sammy, yeah, it's about to be another damn. They're gonna put on another great show, and then, but this time Braun's gonna win, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, that was match of the night." You're gonna be like, "Oh, what's the last time when Money in the Bank they had a good match?" But everybody was just they're like, "Oh, it's Sammy Hogan." Wow, 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 wow. Like they thought Sammy was burying, or Sammy and WWE was burying Braun. I'm like, dude, he's just started. Like that was his first championship match, and like he was going
And
up
on the
against.
while being on the main roster, if he'd have won it,
Yeah, it would have been Randy.
that's
It would have been Randy Orton esque.
if they had somebody steamrolling their way to the top, why have them steamroll their way to the Intercontinental Championship? Just shoot them straight to the top.
Yeah,
But
but
that's that
yeah,
Vince mentality too. So
oh yeah. But I mean, overall, I mean, great. Like you said, match of the night more than likely. I mean, it's just one. It
oh
was great, and then Braun and Sammy about to put on a clinic. It's going to be phenomenal at SummerSlam. I'm excited for
Ilya sold death is
that. He
it,
sold CTE
he
last
pretty
night.
much sold like immediate CTE, and I think that's
I think
dude. The
okay, hot
more he
take.
comes out, dude, he is just God, dude. I Ilya Dragunov might be my favorite guy on Raw right now. Like as far as like what they're able to go out into the ring and do, maybe outside of Gunther. Of course, that match is going to be because they kind of had like a foreshadowing to that match a couple months ago, and we kind of thought that was going to be the King of the Ring, but
Yeah.
it also makes sense to kind of hold off on that match because that is going to be like
I
whatever
think.
night that is. I don't think it matters what the card looks like. That's going to be match of the night.
Oh yeah, when Ilya and Braun go at it for pay per view, I think they're going to have multiple pay per view matches in their careers on the main roster, but you know they're going to have matches tonight for sure. Which I mean, hot take. I think Ilya. I don't know if it'll be the next. Like, I don't think it won't be the next pay per view that Braun defends it, but he will. Ilya will take. He will beat Braun for that title at some point. I say by Mania at the latest, probably the
Oh, I
Rumble.
I fully agree with you.
So
Um,
that's. I mean, that's. I don't know. That's my take on that. That's what I'm thinking.
yeah, but no, I was originally talking about whenever Gunther and Ilya have that match.
Oh yeah.
That's going to feed families.
Mm,
But no, Ilya put on a hell of a match. Braun is getting better and better in the ring every single time he goes out. He's a little shaky on that Frankensteiner, but it's looking like the actual execution of the move is looking better and better every time.
oh yeah.
And I feel like here in a year, I'd be highly surprised if he isn't already a heavyweight champion, but like in the mix at the very least. I'd be highly surprised
Yeah.
if he isn't there. But after that, we had Lyra Valkyria and
Versus.
Sonya Deville, and yeah, the KC squared and the lesbian shield, and I think
No, it was that. I mean, it was.
that's kind of slowly becoming one of my favorite storylines. Actually, I'm really like you got to push Caden Carter and Katana Chance somehow, and they had pretty much had no light on them. And every time they go out in a match, I mean, they show out. They have a really good time,
Yep.
and it's just Put them in a rivalry with arguably the best women tag team in the company right now.
Yep. But it was Lyra versus Raquel Rodriguez, and it was a good match.
Sonya
It was
Deville, but
who did I say? Oh, I said
Raquel
God damn.
Rodriguez. She hadn't
We're
been
gonna
on
have to
TV in
edit
a
that
while.
out.
I'm wondering where
We're gonna have
Raquel
to edit
is.
that
Has she
out,
been on
brother.
NXT? Mm.
No, she has she had fuck, she's sick like I think she has
She got
something
this
with her
weird
kidney.
she got this weird corpo lady thing going on. It's like no one and
No, she had
Baszler and Stark are like no one believed in us until Sonya came along. It's like, well, you clearly just
yeah,
didn't believe in yourself and just boop them on the nose. Good, like they
yeah.
wouldn't rip my fucking hand off for that.
But yeah, Sonya Deville
Shayna just
Sonya
starts shaking it
Deville
like
and
a fucking dog. Just,
Lyra. but 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 Lyra and
Shut up,
Sonya,
Nick.
like they had a good match. It was just like there was one part I saw where Lyra, she reversed the Devil's Advocate, Sonya's finisher. She reversed it and turned it into a sit out power bomb. And when she did, she picked her up and she was trying to give her the power bomb, and like you could hear her, she was like, let go," because Sonya had her hands wrapped around her stomach. She's like, let go," so she could do the move. I was like, that's kind of strange seeing
When Lyra is
you
sitting
know
there giving you tips, and here's the thing: we don't think Lyra is a bad wrestler. It's just she needs a little time before she gets like pushed to the top. Like
but I mean she's
we were both a bit surprised that she was like the finalist in the Queen of the Ring.
hmm but also
But
she was,
I mean,
she
was she
hasn't been
sitting
on the
in the
main
ring trying to
roster.
give you tips? And how many times Sonya been injured? Like I don't know. You carry it to the
Good.
power of two. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, like a lot. And it, she gonna have to like just protect yourself, dude. Like it's not that hard.
that, and I mean Lyra,
You're gonna hurt yourself, and that makes
it
Lyra
seems
look
like,
bad.
yeah, and Lyra's giving her tips, and she's only been on the main roster since April, and late April, early May. She's only been on the roster since then, and Sonya Deville's been on the main roster for good. I don't know exactly the time. I know it's been a few years. I know it's been a good while. Like it's been long enough. Like it's been years anyway. And like,
Long enough.
yeah, long enough that you would think she wouldn't like be holding on for a damn power bomb, but whatever. But I mean, other than that, it was a good match, and of course, they had the whole interference, like KC2 and the rest of the Lesbian Shield had they had it like they squared up, on the outside of the ring. It was pretty good. But then, boy howdy, we had Chicago made Punk and Drew McInfuck come out. But
Jesus.
CM Punk came out there, and he came out there and started talking. And he said he was cleared. When he said he was medically cleared, I'm not gonna lie to
Everyone
you,
went insane.
I almost cried because I was like, we're finally about to get a physical match between Punk and McIntyre. Like, and I've never been like a diehard, you know, Drew fan or a McIntyre fan. Like, I mean, I
You
enjoy
heard
both
it
of
here
them. I
first,
have for a
folks.
long time.
He doesn't like Drew or McIntyre.
Yeah, I don't like Drew or McIntyre, but I don't know. I'm just like this feud is just. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan and you're not into the CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre feud, like I don't know what else you could want from this. I don't know what else you could want from a storyline. To
Just
be
need to
honest,
jump off a bridge.
yeah, pretty much.
This is
Oh,
cinema, and you don't
now
deserve it.
match. And then
But
all of a sudden, Adam Pearce comes out and announces there's going to be a special guest referee, and it's none other than freaking Seth Rollins, who's going to be the
Mr.
guest
Freaking
referee.
himself.
Yeah, don't call him freaking. You can just
That's his
don't
legal
call him
name.
don't call him Mister Freaking. That's his father. You just call him
Hmm.
freaking. But
Or
yeah,
freaking.
Seth Rollins being tied into them. Of course, like CM Punk, like Punk and Rollins, actually hating each other outside of the wrestling world. Like it's not kayfabe. Like those two dudes really do not like each other. And like,
Oh yeah.
and then Drew and Seth, they have great chemistry, and it's like this is perfect. Like, damn, like Triple H is cooking once again. I love it.
And I would say one of the best storylines going on, if not the best storyline going on, especially the best going on in Raw. But every step of the way, I mean, this is basically like what was supposed to be like going into Mania, right? Because like CM Punk getting injured, like the whole Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns thing was kind of a backup plan
Yep.
from
From
all
that
from what I've
documentary.
heard.
And then they, of course, they released that documentary that stated that. I mean, it's what like it was supposed to be Punk versus Rollins at Mania, and it was supposed to be Punk versus Rollins and
I'm
Cody.
assuming Cody versus Roman
No,
was going to happen anyway. But
Cody wasn't like he wasn't even supposed to have it. Like he wasn't even going to have a match at Mania,
oh wow,
which is kind of odd because I don't know. Like I don't even know how you could have. I don't know why they even thought that was possible.
are we
Just
going to have fucking the Alpha Academy come out against the Street Profits? Like what
bored.
takes that spot?
Yeah, because like it wasn't even like what they said was like Cody was supposed to win the Rumble, and but he wasn't going to wrestle at Mania for a title. I'm like, that don't even make fucking sense. Why would you even do that? Because it was going to be Rock versus Roman, and Roman was going to win, and then Cody was going to face, Roman at Backlash or something, and then beat him. But it's like, why would you do that? Like, just do it at Mania. I don't know. But thankfully, everybody tweeted out hashtag We Want Cody, and like, you know, everything kind of worked out the way it did. So, blessing in disguise.
Well, I think everything happened for a reason, and what happened was best case scenario. So you got to be grateful that what happened did, and here we are now. And unfortunately, um, it looks like Cody may actually drop it at SummerSlam. But if you want to hear more about that, you can listen to our second episode and keep keep eyes out for the fourth episode because those are going to be SmackDown related episodes, and we're talking about Raw, like how your mom and dad made you. So what we're gonna so the next thing we're gonna get into is the Judgment Day jumping Jey Uso during Sami Zayn's interview, and Sami started the interview out saying he's gonna take Braun very seriously, and that Braun should take him very seriously. And then there was Finn Balor and JD McDonough beating the shit out of Jey Uso for taking Rhea Ripley to Waffle House. And Sammy and Jay having history the way they do. Sammy came in and saved the day for him.
And then,
And that kind of set up the tag team match that was the main event for the night. I think it was a nice little segue into having that tag team match. But other than that, do you have any extra thoughts on that?
Uh, I mean, not really. It's just a backstage, segment. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
Judgment Day excluding Damian Priest and Rhea. You know,
yeah. And
I mean
I
that's pretty much
honestly,
it. Just jumping Jay.
yeah, I really do feel like this is going to wind up being kind of. I feel like the Judgment Day is going to split up, like maybe before Survivor Series. That could be the War Games right there. But I feel like more people are going to have to be involved for that to even be a thing. That could be a silly thing to say, but it's a thought. That'd definitely be an interesting match. Um, anyway, after the little backstage interview, it kind of segued into the Xavier Woods and the
What's that?
two male members of the Alpha Academy leaving, or that left, Otis and Kira Tozawa, going against Karrion Cross, Akam, and Razar from the Final Testament, and Karrion Cross pinned Xavier Woods for the win.
And the
And
crowd went wild.
yeah, and like the crowd went very mild. As good as that crowd was, that was probably the lowest pop to significant moment ratio of the night. Because
Oh
immediately after that, Chad Gable got a louder boo than that match. Well, actually, no, Akira Tozawa did get a massive pop when he was
nice,
tearing his shirt. Like that might have been the loudest pop of the night, actually. So I can't say Chad Gable was getting booed louder than that, but Chad Gable came out with the Creed brothers and pretty much inviting the gang back into the Alpha Academy, saying the same shit we've been hearing for about 2 months now, that you need me and we're going to get this, we're going to get that. And Otis declined, to which the Creed brothers proceeded to jump Tozawa and Otis. Otis broke out of it for a split second and was about to give Chad Gable the world's strongest slam just to get jumped again. They were about to give him some good old chair spankings, and then here came the Wyatt Six, thank fucking God. And that's probably, I said earlier, with Drew McIntyre and Punk being probably the best, or at least the second best story on Raw. This would be number two or maybe even number one, depending on who you ask. I'm loving it so far.
it's wonderful.
Absolutely loving it.
And I will say this before we get into it: when the Wyatt Six coming out, Uncle Howdy gave the cleanest Sister Abigail I have ever seen. Like
You can thank
I
Chad Gable selling on that too, but
I don't care. That
it's one of
was
the nicest ones I've seen.
oh my god! It was remarkable. Like when I seen it, and like he just comes up out of the the whole place went dark and the smoke, and then he just like the whole the other four walked down to the or walking to the ring, and Chad Gable's just sitting in the ring waiting, and then all of a sudden he looks behind him, and then bam, like it's Uncle Howdy, and he's like, "There you are."
There you are.
He grabs him, gives him the. I'm telling you, if anybody listening didn't see it, it's just you gotta
You need
look
to
it up.
go and
Like
watch it. Like
my
Chad
God, it
Gable,
was.
like he definitely gave his A game on that sell, but as far as the execution of the move itself, Bo Dallas, I think
He knocked
there's
it out of the park.
if y'all are if anybody was worried about how he was going to be in the ring, you shouldn't, because it's definitely still there. And no, it just made me more and more excited for everything that's going to happen going in the
I'm,
future. I don't think they're gonna have a SummerSlam match. They might. The card's getting pretty stacked. We're already up to 7 matches confirmed,
so
and
it'll probably be like a Bash in Berlin or
Maybe Bad
Even a
Blood.
bad.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that
yeah.
would
I
kind of
mean,
fit the vibe.
so like I don't know. I don't know their plans. I don't know if they're gonna have a. I would assume they'd have some kind of pay per view in September. I mean, they usually do.
Hmm.
You know, like if they do, then maybe they're or whatever, because they change. They go through different pay per views. Like because they'll bring back some. Like this year, they're bringing back Bad Blood to where they had
Hmm.
Payback last year. So it's like, they just like I think Triple H just kind of goes in and out, like whatever he chooses to do. And but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what pay per view's coming if in September or if there is one. But
May not be with such a big pay per view. If SummerSlam is looking to be as stacked as it's gonna be, I mean, I still feel like we're probably still 3 matches out from the full booking of it.
I mean, they might.
They
I
may
mean,
have
they might.
something for like they may have something for like the pre-show. I mean, they did for
Yeah,
Mania.
they might. I mean, hell, they might add the tag team titles in there. You
Yeah,
know, I don't know.
that'd be a real fun match. But I guess time will tell with that.
But overall, I mean, like the Wyatt Six coming out last night, I just
I
it
mean,
might
between
be like looking at
The
my
Wyatt
notes.
Six and Braun Elia, that's kind of my
Yeah,
two of the three best moments of the night for me personally.
yeah. I was just thinking, looking at my notes. I mean, I'm gonna say, yeah. I'm just gonna say that was my favorite of the night for sure. Like
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
and then Nikki's
Like
tape, which Nikki's tape, to me, like, I mean, no offense with this, but Nikki's tape has probably been the weakest one so far, but it's still a really good segment they had. A lot more horror inspired than the ones previously, because all the Bo Dallas ones have all been very psychological thriller kind of vibe to it, and then the
Eric
Eric
Rowan
Rowan
was
one damn near made me cry, and this one was very
shock
just
horror.
very,
I mean,
very off-putting, very creepy. But they're all going great. So as far as these promos go and these videotapes, if we're going member by member, all that's left is Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy,
yep.
and potentially maybe even if they decide to bring Alexa Bliss back, which I mean I don't know if they will, but they might. Um, Liv Morgan has ties with Bo Dallas too. Their exes. They may still be together. I don't know the details on it, but I know that that's a possibility as well. But again, time will tell with that. The next segment that happened was Pete Dunne and Bronson Reed were going to have a match, and then a large Irish fella um, came out and
It's
said,
a
"The hell with
Sheamus
that."
thing.
It's a Sheamus thing. Lobsterhead came out with too many limes, and
That dude was giving bro knees left and fucking right. Like Sheamus was just he was
in
doing the most for
jeans,
that shit.
in blue jeans. It's the fucking thing.
Yeah. Oh my god! Like
No, those knees were beautiful. His pants were starting to look a little tight when he was starting to do that bro kick. I mean, he caught it, but like
yeah,
it ain't like when he's
he
usually in
didn't get
his regular attire.
yeah.
He may need a little more flexibility. But no, that's an interesting story they're doing. I'm not really. Pete Dunne hasn't really went into specifically like what his deal with Sheamus is right now. But
I
I think
mean,
you were telling me it's
all I
like when he
know.
came back, he didn't talk to him, or
No, okay. So when Sheamus got injured last year, he left. Like, of course, he left and had surgery and all that, and like he didn't. he didn't talk because it was the Brawling Brutes. It was Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Pete Dunne. And he didn't talk to he didn't talk to Pete. He didn't talk to Pete Dunne or Ridge Holland for a while. Which at the time Pete was going by Butch, and he didn't talk to either one of them at all. And then didn't check up on them, didn't do nothing. And then Ridge Holland came out and they were gonna have a tag team match, and I think against God, this was SmackDown in October. I think he was gonna have a match against Pretty Deadly. I want to say, pretty sure.
That sounds right.
I'm gonna say Pretty Deadly, but they were gonna have a match, and he and they got to the ring, and then Ridge just said he just shrugged him off. He just walked out, and then really haven't heard shit from him. I don't I think he went to NXT a few times. Hell, he might still be down there. I don't know. But Rich Holland's pretty much non-existent. Um, and then and then Butch came back I think 2 weeks after that, changed his name or went back to his old name, Pete Dunne, and now he's doing that. Now he's Pete Dunne again. And
That's right. And haven't
and
really seen the other half of No Catch Republic, but
but that's oh yeah, Tyler Bate, he's injured, so but yeah, that was it. It was just then Tyler Bate came out there, and then him and Pete Dunne started a New Catch Republic, and then they were doing that, and then he got injured, and Tyler Bate got injured, so I don't know what they're Pete Dunne's doing this storyline, which is I'm interested in it. I think it's something cool because there's a lot of story, there's a lot of beef, a lot of there's
yeah,
some
it's kind of a
history.
sleeper story.
Yeah,
Um,
there's some history with Sheamus and Pete Dunne, so you
oh
know.
yeah, absolutely. And
So I mean, I'm
I
interested.
think that I think it was definitely it was kind of a sleeper moment of the night. It was a very quick moment, but with Bronson Reed being pulled into it and his god awful theme song, I think it kind of adds another level of danger to both parties, and I feel like it'll probably be a triple threat match coming pretty soon, and that'll be a pretty fun. I think that'll be a fun match.
Next
Um,
week on Sci-Fi.
oh boy, next week on Sci-Fi, come see the 11th wonder of the world, Big Bronson Reed, as he manages to do a backflip.
But yeah, it was it
We'll
was
work on that.
well worth it.
We'll workshop that.
Ass.
Um,
um,
yes.
but yeah, then it was a Judgment Day segment backstage. Just going over Jay and Sammy pretty much, and Rhea comes back there. It's I told y'all not to touch Jay Uso, and they're like, "Oh, why you being like this?" Blah 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 blah.
Because
Just
Waffle
started.
House is good, guys. I think you're really missing out. I think is what she was wanting to say, but
Yep. And
they won't
then
listen to her.
she's like, "Why are you dragging Sammy into this? Don't really make sense." Which I mean, she's right. It really don't.
They're like, there's no need to start something that is going to wind up like, don't bite off more than you can chew.
Sammy and
And
Jay are going to end up winning the tag titles from the
you
Judgment
got
Day. So
Sammy and Jay, who I feel like the reason they're so tough now is probably because they were Roman Reigns' like personal punching bags for the better part of you know a year, like a couple years for Jay, but at least a year for fucking Sammy.
Sammy, yeah,
And you know Roman Reigns tends to have this effect. Like after you get in a match with Roman Reigns, even if you lose, like you're just better.
pretty much.
And I don't.
Unless you're
Maybe
right
that's
back.
yeah. Unless you're right back, and then like you think that Undertaker is a worse wrestler than. Oh god, I don't even want to get into. I don't even want to get into it. But anyway, so mommy took little baby Dom by the ear out to the ring and proceeded to pretty much like try to auction off many Latino heat. And then here came Liv Morgan and basically was trying to admit that she had feelings for Dom. And Dom proceeded to eviscerate her emotionally. Um, Basically saying is like, you want to hear those three little words you want to hear so bad? Well, here they are. I fucking hate you. You've ruined my life. You're a great value, Alexa Bliss. And she turned around and she started crying. And then Rhea Ripley just whispered sweet nothings into his ear and then proceeded to
Lick his face.
um, lick his face and give him a big old smooch. And then I have never seen him channel Eddie Guerrero harder than when he's walking lean back, just hugging on Rhea. And honestly, part of me feels like I feel like it's a little too good to be true. I feel like that, like Dom and like this is my personal opinion. I feel like Dominic and Liv are coming up with a plan, and I feel like their match at SummerSlam, Dominic's going to reveal his true intentions and side with Liv, and then there will be. But
Very much
that's
possible.
just my predict. That's very possible. Dominic is a snake in the grass. That's how it goes. And all that happening when it did may have um, may have been a little too convenient for the plan, but I guess we will see. But directly after that is a very feel good moment. You like to see a home wrecker get her comeuppance. But what's kind of weird about this situation is that Rhea, even though Rhea's the one getting cheered and Liv is the one getting booed, if you really look at it, like Liv is the face in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Like
look at the
it's
overall
weird
history,
to explain, but Liv is the face because Rhea did start all this,
yep,
and she never really changed. She's always been mommy, always been the dominant powerhouse heel, and she still is. She came back, and I mean, she hasn't changed. They just cheer her now. They've been
yep.
cheering her for a long time anyway, but I feel like Liv and Dom, given my prediction is actually right, that will be one of the best ways to actually make Rhea like a full blown face. And Dominic would have, if you thought he had heat now, oh my God, it's he might be getting the loudest boos in WWE history at that point.
Oh yeah.
But we will see. Anyway, after that, we had probably, I would say, probably kind of a sleeper match actually. I didn't really expect a whole hell of a lot going into this match, but after it was over, I was pleasantly surprised. It was a very, very solid match. Zelina Vega and Zoe Stark, and I really do like this little rivalry they're starting to build between like Lyra and KC2 and the Lesbian Shield, and that's kind of going back to that match earlier in the night. And I don't think they're going to have a match at SummerSlam again. Kind of going back to the whole Chad Gable, Wyatt Six. I don't think it's going to be like a SummerSlam match, but they're probably doing some long term booking for pay per views like after. So definitely Bash at Berlin. I could see that happening. Maybe a 3-way tag team match. Um, Maybe KC2 goes over and they finally get their first tag team championship. And that would be pretty cool.
No, Taxi Two's already been tag team champions.
Oh, well, then I apologize. Well,
They
I'll
were
call
tag
my
team
editor.
champions in like November, and then they lost them in December to wasn't that right? Hold up, maybe late November. I think they dropped them because they beat Piper and Chelsea Green won the tag team champions, and then they beat them on Raw, and then they lost to Kabuki Warriors, Oscar and Kyrie Zane lost to them on Monday Night Raw like a month and a half later, something like that. And
All
then
right.
they,
Well,
all that.
I
So yeah,
apologize.
they were the tag team champions for a little bit. Like,
Yeah, and then I think they lost it at Backlash, or
oh
was it
yeah,
that Monday after? Yeah,
the Kabuki Warriors. Yeah, they held them for about 4 months, something like that. Yeah, they lost them to Jade and Bianca. So,
yeah.
and then, of course, now the Unholy Unity. Or, yeah,
The Unholy Unity or the Unholy Union or whatever
Union.
they
Yeah,
go by.
that's
They
it.
had a very, very fun match in Scotland, and I think they've had one match since then,
They
maybe
haven't
two.
had a match since then. Not televised
No,
anyway.
no. They've had one. Remember, they had the match. I think it was against Casey too. As a matter of fact,
Oh yeah, that's right. That's because it was pretty
yeah,
much
they had the match pretty much directly after. I think it was the Monday. If it
yeah,
wasn't the Monday after, it was a week after that.
yeah. That's
But
right.
either
You're
way, they
right.
had a match pretty shortly after that. But I haven't seen them in the ring since. Like they've
My
been in
bad.
the
I
back.
take the
They've
L on that
been. No, you're all good. Nobody's. I fucked up during this. So it's all good.
one.
But after that match, Zelina went over thanks to um, the boys in blue, and it was a real feel good moment. And right after that, Gunther proceeded to go on and talk about how good he is, and we believe him.
Wait,
You know, we know. You take a man, you can take three nipples off with one chop, and it's just one chest. And we're trying to figure out how. It's a mystery of science. It's a mystery of God
yeah,
Himself.
yeah. I mean, I always like. I love Gunther anyways, but I love his every time he has a vignette.
He's
Backstage
getting better and better on the mic.
promo.
He's getting a lot more comfortable.
Oh yeah, like the more he falls in, he just keeps going into his heel mode, and he like it just keeps getting better and better. So it's
He just better hope he don't worst case scenario for him. He has to run into damn Shayna Baszler.
mm,
And because let me tell you something, as big and strong as you think Gunther is, there's not much you can do about a bulldog. It's gonna come at you and just like fucking grab you by the leg. And then there's Gunther on the shelf for 3 years with a staph infection. But, yeah, no, going back, I really think that's probably got the best potential between that or Pump Drew with Rollins as the ref.
mm,
Got the best chance for being match of the night from the Raw side.
yeah.
Sammy and Braun is going to be two. And speaking of which, the main event for Monday Night Raw was Jay and Sammy teaming back up to go against the Judgment Day in a non-title match, which they went over. And great match, by the way. Um,
Great match.
Finn Balor and JD McDonough are growing on me as tag team champions, but I feel like they're going to wind up dropping pretty soon. I just don't know who to. Could be Jay and Sammy. That might be a
Well, I mean,
foreshadowing them
after
winning, but at the same time, I also feel like both of them are going to have like heavyweight championship kind of. They're going to have eyes on
aspiration,
that particular prize after SummerSlam because
without a
um,
doubt.
the man who interrupted the end of the program, Braun Breaker, is going to be your new Intercontinental Champion after SummerSlam, as we went over earlier.
Yeah, Braun's gonna win. So I think Sammy's gonna drop the IC, and then I think Braun. I mean Braun. I think Jay and Sammy are gonna end up winning the titles, the tag
You, th-
titles, and
you
then
think so?
yeah, yeah. I just have this feeling, and I don't know why I just got this feeling, but when I saw them team up, I just got this like gut feeling that they're gonna win.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
mean,
it's going to be like they're going to hold them and then they're going to lose them. They'll hold them, I'd say a month, probably maximum. And I
yeah,
think
I feel
it'll probably be, honestly,
it may be used to build an angle between them too.
and I
Because
mean,
like two faces come in, one face leaves as a heel.
now that's possible. But I also think that, you know, And I don't know the time on Tyler Bate coming back, but if he comes back, pretty soon, and then you have like the New Catch Republic, you have them win the titles off of Jay and Sammy. You know,
Yeah.
that's I don't know. Not I'm just spitballing ideas.
No, I mean that wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd be for that personally. I also think that New Catch Republic maybe they patch things up with Sheamus to an extent, and he winds up winning the Intercontinental title, and then there you go, the Brawling Brutes got
Now,
gold on them.
Sheamus, hold up. I know
I
earlier
would
I
like
said
to see Sheamus get the Grand Slam championship.
now earlier I said
I think
Ilya would beat.
everyone would, honestly.
Earlier I said Ilya would beat. Uh, Ilya would beat
Braun,
Braun. But now that I'm thinking about Sheamus going for that, like trying to be the Grand Slam, he might end up winning the Intercontinental.
he might. I
That's,
mean,
I
Braun's
mean,
beat him before, but I mean that's not to say that Braun can't be beat. I mean, Sammy beat him,
yeah,
but I get it just really depends on how they push him.
but
But
it's also I don't know. I'll say this before we finish out. Like Braun, like whoever wins the IC title, it don't really matter. Like they got about 8-9 months to play with it because whenever John Cena comes back to do his retirement tour next year, word life, word
so,
life, he's gonna win. He's gonna end up becoming the 17-time champion at WrestleMania, probably going over Randy Orton, and then he is going to. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Cena. He's gonna get his 17 time, and then he's gonna end up winning the IC title, so he can become a Grand Slam. And that's about all I gotta say about that. That's just like for the for the IC title, they got about 8 or 9 months to play around with it until it gets maybe a year until
yeah.
when Cena decides to go after it, which I think will be like next May. I'd say May, June, something like that. But anyways,
Oh,
off that, getting sidetracked. Uh, Pretty much then, yeah, like Jay and Sammy and like Trevor said last night, was on the phone watching it. Like, he's been impressed with Jay more and more, even though like Jay has the same moves, but I think like people
he's
bitch
been
about his
spreading it
moves.
out. He's been spreading it out instead of just doing all of his big moves all at once after getting the hell beat out of him and brawling for the whole match.
Yeah,
Starting to he'll throw a suplex in here. He'll do a dive through the rope there. He'll hit you with a damn. He had there was something he did last night that it felt like I'd never seen him do it before. But I think it's just him doing it through like sprinkling it throughout the match instead of just doing it all at once. It makes it mean more,
yeah.
And I like that trajectory. I still would like to see him have a new finisher,
Burning hammer.
but yeah, burning hammer. Hit him with the Uso crossface, but Jay Benoit. No, we ain't even gonna joke like that. No, but the I feel like him developing a bit more of a move set would be pretty much the last thing he needs to be like a certified world champion. 'Cause I
Oh
feel like
yeah,
the mic work is there. Like he's so over with the crowd right now that it is actually insane. Like coming in through the crowd also helps a lot with that, but I ain't gonna make excuses. I mean, dude is just absolutely over, and outside of Braun Breaker and Jey Uso, kind of alluding to the fact that they may even have a match in the future.
yeah.
Um, Jey Uso may very well be the one to take the Intercontinental Championship off of Braun.
No, that's true. That's true.
But again, like we've been saying throughout the podcast, time will tell with these. But that was pretty much that was the review on Raw, and if we had to give it like a 0 to 10 scale, like immediately after watching Raw, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Just felt like there were some weak moments, but going back over it, it was actually a pretty solid episode. I'd have to give it like a 7.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my. I mean, I said a 7 last night after the show, and I'm just gonna say a 7 right now. I mean, that's like it was a great episode. It wasn't like top tier, it wasn't like oh my god episode, but it was like it was. I mean, it was a great episode. Like I loved it. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
all the stories are kind of coming together, and all this build up to SummerSlam, which second biggest pay per view of the year, is always one of the best times. Being a
and
wrestling,
usually when
being a
heels reign
WWE
supreme,
fan, like getting ready for SummerSlam is always exciting. So,
oh yeah,
but
but
I reckon outside of that, we're probably gonna call her an episode.
that's right.
Put
So
a bow on
thank y'all for listening. This was the Our Yard Podcast, episode 3. Could
it.
be
How we
4 if you believe hard enough.
going? Raw Reigns.
Rye Reigns. If you see a rye reigns in your area, don't forget to feed it one of our top 5 spinaches. They really like they, they really appreciate spinach.
Oh, and last thing I will say for the listeners, go comment on the video and give us your top 5 favorite wrestling theme songs. It don't have to just be WWE. It could be AEW, WCW, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, we're talking all
Whatever
time.
your favorite wrestling TNA, Park Angle's TNA theme song. Fuck out of here. Uh,
Oh yeah,
whatever you want. Just a fun little side quest for you.
yeah. Don't be afraid to communicate with the goats. But anyway, thank you for listening to our episode, and you'll have a wonderful evening.
Top of the
Don't
morning.
play leapfrog with a unicorn.